Hey, Ken.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, have you heard the news?
Maybe.
That's a good answer. Now, if I said the name Kenny Omega, would you know who I'm talking about?
I would.
That guy is on one hell of a run.
Yes.
And his AEW run, like people are actually talking about his AEW run being like lackluster in comparison to the heights that he was at in New Japan, which, to be fair, he was top of the card. He was one of their top. He was there like Rock to Okada's Austin, or however you want to flip it, you know?
Yep.
But that was the two big main event moneymakers. And, Naito was right there too. And Jay White, but those were the two big guns. Kenny Omega's initial run in AEW.
It was good, but it felt lackluster compared to New Japan.
Yeah. But the thing with Kenny Omega, though, is that this guy is a long-term storyteller. This whole thing was one big, long story that ends up with him, first of all, being the AAA Mega Champion in Lucha Libre, AAA Worldwide. Crazy.
Yep.
Now he's the AEW World Champion. Now he's on Impact with Don Callis.
With the AEW title.
With the AEW title. And he's probably going to win the Impact World title. In fact, I think he should. If he doesn't, I'll be like, what the fuck was the point of this? He should win that title.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool.
Have him win that title. Have him on AEW Dynamite, both fucking belts, and then have someone from Impact show up on Dynamite to challenge for the title. Boom, done.
It's been a long time since we saw like two companies go at it like this.
Yeah, but the cool part is it's a partnership, so they're not neither company is going to be like, It's not like WWE's version of WCW, where it was just literally Vince's way of shitting on WCW again.
Yeah.
He just had to do it on live TV now. And ECW too. He had to shit on both of them.
Yeah.
Even though ECW was unofficially his feeder company for years, but sure, shit on them. But needless to say, the run is already like crazy cool, and Moxley had a hell of a run too.
Oh yeah,
Moxley was PWI's #1 wrestler of the year this year because of that. So the top 500, PWI 500, Moxley was the top of the list, and well deserved. Omega decides I want to be a main eventer again. That's it. We're back to the cleaner. It's awesome. That promo he did with Callis on Impact. Mwah! God damn.
That promo on the bus, like over 10 minutes long, and holy shit was it solid. It did not feel like 10 minutes. It was so damn good.
I have been a fan of Don Callis after his wrestling. I wasn't really well enough into wrestling, like the Attitude stuff. When he came out, I wasn't really familiar with him.
Yeah,
it wasn't until years later.
When he was doing the Jackal thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't until years later that I got into him because of his podcast with Lance Storm. And then I started checking out Don Callis' stuff, and phenomenal wrestler, great promo, totally understood the business. He's old school. He's more old school. He's like, it's kind of like Booker T in that regard, where he's just almost a tad too old school. Lemonade, not piss.
Thank you for
that out. That 10-minute promo was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was
so good. So good.
When I saw Omega beat Moxley, I was like, oh, I gotta watch this stuff. And then I saw how it happened, and I saw him run out to the limo and then go, you'll find out on Impact next week. And I was like, what the fuck? What is this?
That is craziness. Absolute craziness. Yeah. I was just you know what? Like I said, I don't have much to say about it except that it's awesome. I'm disappointed that I can't watch Impact, and that the only AEW I can watch is After Dark. Or no, not After Dark, but just Dark, which is fine. That's all well and good. But I don't get any of the Kenny Omega stuff, and I don't get any of the Moxley stuff. So, I get women's matches, but their women's division, they need to figure out what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
They have the talent, just need to know what they're doing with it.
They definitely got the talent.
But yeah, I thought you'd get a kick out of some Omega stuff.
Yeah.
So we discussed this previously, but we didn't really get into details too much. But the rumored WrestleMania main events are out, and it looks bleak. It looks really bleak. We've got. Go on.
It's like Vince McMahon doesn't want to make money anymore. I mean,
well, I'll give the roll call, and then I'll tell you the theory as to why one of the matches are being done as opposed to another match. Okay.
Let's do it.
So, I'm assuming that this is like because it's the 3 main events, right? So the low-level main event, surprisingly enough, is Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre versus Keith Lee. That is the rumored Raw brand main event. I'm assuming McIntyre has the belt at that point.
I don't see that. I don't see that match happening.
I don't see it happening because there's no crowds.
Yeah, I don't see it happening because
Brock Lesnar is a guy that's like, I want to do this in front of crowds. I think this doesn't happen.
Yeah,
if it does happen, I could care less about this.
Why is Lesnar even in there? McIntyre versus Lee, done.
Yeah, in fact, they would have an easier time for me to get behind this if they started building Keith Lee. Except, apparently, Keith Lee doesn't know how to wrestle.
Right.
So he was put back to the Performance Center to be trained by Drew Gulak to learn how to work.
Can you imagine being told you can't wrestle, but also you might be in one of the main events at WrestleMania?
It was like Keith Lee and Otis are both guys that were brought back to the Performance Center to wrestle. Otis is an actual collegiate wrestler, so he knows how to wrestle, like Kurt Angle style wrestling, just like Chad Gable.
Yeah. He's
also fucking strong. The other part too is like he's not a tall guy, but he's a big guy.
Yeah.
But he works an interesting style. Like he actually stands out from other big guys because of the style he works, just like Keith Lee. Now, I'm not saying Keith Lee should be doing backflips every fucking match and, power slam flips with all these other big guys he's wrestling with. But he's not a big guy wrestler because he got over by being a big fat guy doing things that big fat guys don't do.
Mm-hmm.
And now Vince is saying, yeah, I don't want you to do that. I want you to wrestle like every other big fat guy that's ever wrestled in the entire history of this company.
Yeah.
So it sucks for these guys, but the idea is that they do this, then they get better in McMahon's eyes, and then they get pushes because of this. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just really like it's one of those like McMahon deals where I go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I'm not too pleased about that one. I agree with you. Take Lesnar out, especially because it's Lesnar and he hasn't done anything since he lost the title. So it's not like he won a number 1 contender unless he wins the Royal Rumble, which is a possibility. But anyway,
yeah,
McIntyre Keith Lee could be a fucking banger feud and a banger match. It could be crazy. But okay, fine, whatever. They'll redeem themselves in the next main event, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's Randy Orton versus Edge again. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think they're going to redeem themselves because
again,
their first match was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible, and it was marred by that friggin' Chris Benoit neck hanging spot that they did. I'm still outraged that they did it, and it's the same mentality like in our quick camcast about CDPR where they went, no one's going to say anything, and if they do, whatever, fuck it. We'll just roll with the punches instead of saying to themselves, maybe we don't do that. Like both Orton and Edge were there and wrestled with Benoit before he died. In fact, Benoit gave Orton his first world heavyweight title. It was his title that Orton beat him for. First run, one of Orton's best matches up until that point because he was a shit wrestler for a long time.
Yep.
And not one of them goes, Vince, can we do a different spot? Can we do any other spot but this? Like, could we hit one of us with a truck? I'd rather get hit with a truck than do this spot, especially when, that Dark Side of the Ring or whatever, that TV show, literally just finished showing that two-parter. Just finished it, and they went, nah, it's a great idea. So, and no disrespect to Randy Orton and Edge. I love those guys. I've been fans of those guys forever. But the first match sucked. The greatest wrestling match of all time was better than the cinematic match. But, I mean, that's not really huge praise because
it would be super shitty for Edge to come back after years just to fight Randy Orton every couple months until he retires again.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, at least that match has a story behind it. It would make more sense than the last one. Yeah,
but okay, all right. Here it is. This is the one that makes WrestleMania. Okay? We've got the current SmackDown champion, the tribal chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns on quite frankly, the best run of his career.
100%.
Okay?
I've never seen the guy. He's been so goddamn awesome lately.
I've been saying for years, turn him heel. Okay. I've also been saying for years that Vince McMahon needs to cool his jets with Roman and figure out a character that could work well enough to keep him in that upper to middle main event level. Okay. Yep. Because make no mistake about it, when the Shield first came out, I right away, I watched the matches and I went, okay, Rollins is, the high flyer. Ambrose was the talker, but also the more of a hardcore type guy.
Yep.
While Roman was nowhere near as good as either of them because he didn't do any independence. He went straight from football to the, I think it was, their feeder company. Was it Ohio? No.
Yeah.
I think it was Florida right before it became NXT.
Isn't that?
Yeah, it was Florida.
Isn't that what they call those three guys? Was two indie schmucks and a football player?
Yeah, pretty much. But the way that they had presented Roman Reigns as the cleanup hitter, he barely spoke. He was the guy that hit the spear, and then he was the middle guy of the 3-man power bomb every single time. I was like, that's the guy. And plus, he looked it. They all looked like $1 million. They all looked like main eventers. But he had that look that was like, okay, all right. So I called it. And luckily for Roman Reigns, just like John Cena, all the other main eventers were working with Reigns. So he got better. He was terrible, okay? He was fucking terrible for the first year. The second year, he got better. Third year, he got better. Then, they push him to the moon and people start turning on him and stuff like that. And it's the same thing that happened to a couple of other wrestlers. And it's just like, hey, but figure out what works. So now we have him here as a heel and a heel, okay? He's not no Kevin Nash, Scott Hall and the Outsiders, the cool heel, the Austin anti-hero. He is a fucking heel, okay? He has been so good that he has made a main eventer out of Jey Uso, and it will be heartbreaking if Jey Uso can't stay in that upper, even if Jimmy, when he comes back, the Usos are in that upper mid to level high mid card stuff.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. That'd be absolutely awesome because they deserve it. I mean, the fucking feud was money. It was so good. And Jey is still good as this sort of not sure how to act around Roman. It's so good. He gets to wrestle. Are you ready for it? I know you know, but this is just for theatrics. It's for theatrics. Fucking Goldberg. Yeah.
Who also has not wrestled since last. Oh no, he went to Saudi Arabia and almost killed the Undertaker. That's right.
Yeah. But the best part is is that I didn't care to see that the first time around.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, all right, I guess if we have to do this match, I didn't want to see it, but it meant that Roman Reigns was going to get the title, and I was like, okay, fine. But this was even before we had the Roman Reigns heel turn, and I was like, oh, okay, fine. But then he pulls out of the match.
Yep.
So Braun Strowman beats Goldberg, and the match was all right for what it was. Then all of a sudden, Goldberg starts saying, like, I'll show him how to do the spear properly. The second I saw that tweet, I was like, oh, man. Because there's only one way that this match happens. And that is that somehow Goldberg gets a match with Roman Reigns and beats Roman Reigns for the title so that Roman can beat him at WrestleMania for the title back.
Yeah.
If you want to take away all the momentum that Roman has been building since he's come back, you put him across the ring from Goldberg and you make it a title match. And you do some stupid story about, it's a spear versus spear match. That's it. So you have one of the top heels in the company, and the character is perfect because you don't have to tweak it too much when you turn him babyface. Okay? They could turn Roman babyface really good, and it would be crazy. And this will probably be as close to gangbusters as they've been wanting from him since the beginning.
Yeah.
They don't have to do too much. What they can't do is take away all that heat, all that momentum that he has right now, and they run the risk of doing that by having him wrestle Goldberg.
Yeah.
Okay? There's two possible opponents that he could have wrestled this year that would have been crazy. One, fingers crossed that they still do it, is Daniel Bryan, okay? Because they had a little bit of a story beginning, and then they left it, so they kind of let that plot dangle, which, fine, they can pick that up later. The other one was The Rock. Those are the two big ones. Now, the rumor is that The Rock wasn't happening this year because there's no crowds. Okay, fine. I'm fine with that.
That makes sense.
But then sub in Daniel Bryan, because that'll be a banger match. That'll be a banger feud. People will actually want to see this. And this, you could actually do that whole heel retains the title through WrestleMania. Right?
Yep.
That would be like, I'm all for WrestleMania being like, the go home happy type stuff, but he's on the run of his lifetime right now. And Daniel Bryan is on fire, but this is his last run, so he can get one, like, a good feud and, like, a ton of matches out of Rome. Like, between the two of them, they'll have great matches. It'll be just awesome.
Yeah.
That's the match that they should be doing instead of Goldberg. Especially, not only that, more than that, Goldberg has, like, creative control. So if Goldberg doesn't want to lose, Goldberg doesn't lose.
Exactly. And you know what? He's not going to lose if you put him in the main event of WrestleMania.
He's so arrogant. He's like, he's got it. You know what's funny? He reminds me of, like, Bret Hart, where Bret Hart couldn't lose in Canada.
Yeah.
Like, the older I get, the more I go, really? You couldn't lose in Canada? You couldn't lose in Montreal, Quebec? You're from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. That's right. I Lance Stormed that one. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you don't want to lose in your hometown. I get it. That's fine. You're Bret Hart. But anywhere in Canada, fuck you. And Goldberg's pulling the same shit where he's going like, wow, I'm the superhero and nobody wants to see the superhero lose. No, we don't. But sometimes the superhero has to lose so that way when he does come back better and stronger and beats the bad guy, well, then what? It's even more satisfying.
What about fucking Edge? Last time I checked, he was doing the spear before Roman. Like, why not have Goldberg and Edge go at it? There's your spear match.
Edge is wrestling Randy Orton in the second main event, which is going to be...
Or he can just fight The Fiend again. something.
Yeah, and that's my favorite point though, is that they were like, he didn't want to lose to the Fiend. So, and not only did he not want to lose to the Fiend, he wanted to steamroll the Fiend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye heat. All the Fiend's heat that he brought back from that god awful feud with Seth Rollins, he brought it all back, and then they went, fuck it. That's the same thing that's going to happen with Roman Reigns, and that's so disheartening.
It took forever for the Fiend to get back up again.
Now imagine, like, Roman Reigns is going to have to, pardon me, pretend he's got a flare-up of leukemia and go off TV for a couple of months so that he can get away from this heat, the vacuum that's going to suck up all this heat. It's not good. I'm not happy about it. I really hope they go Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. Randy Orton and Edge, I mean, all I can say is I hope that it's a really good match. I really do. I hope that Edge doesn't die this time. I really hope that he doesn't die this time.
Yeah, me too.
And I kind of hope, as much as I would like to see Edge wrestle some of the younger guys, like Seth Rollins, I think he'd match up really well with. I think Ricochet is another one he would match up really well with.
Yep.
I do feel like this should be it. That's it. That's all. And go on your merry way.
Hard to say, eh?
Yep.
Like I don't see him ever being in like a title run situation, but I would love.
And he shouldn't be.
I would love to see him with some guys again.
I mean, it'll seem. I'm kind of looking at it like.
Because I mean, like, I don't know. I just feel so bad for him that, you know, he was the champ and he had to lose everything.
Yep. No, I agree.
And
it was tragic.
Back all these years later. Like, that's insane. Like, that was a feel-good moment seeing him come out at Royal Rumble.
Oh, my God. The build-up to that was crazy cool.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on the WrestleMania main events.
Wow.
That's pretty much it.
So, garbage. Good.
Let us know in the comments what you think. And if you agree with me, great. If you don't, that's also great, too. Opinions are great.
That's cool.
All right. Cool, man. Cool.
Cool.
That's it. I don't have anything else. Cut.